Welcome to AbsoluteCast. This is episode 11 of the AbsoluteCast, but part 4 of our coverage, breakdown, analysis of everything that was announced at WWDC this year. So, welcome to the podcast. If you guys haven't caught up to the previous episodes, I highly recommend that you check those out. There'll be links in the show notes or the description or wherever you're listening to this or watching this. You should have access to it. Or if you can't find it, you can always head over to the AbsoluteGeeks.com and find the episodes over there. So, of course, I'm your host, TJ. And, of course, with us is Udit.
Hey guys, how you doing? Did you like our earlier episodes? Tell us.
And, of course, with us, we have Nakul as well, who edits these episodes.
Hello, everyone.
Good morning, guys. How are you guys doing?
Good morning.
Great.
Good.
How are you?
It's early, isn't it?
Yeah.
Early in the morning. Nakul, I think, is like doe-eyed, like...
Where am I?
He wakes up, comes to the laptop. Oh, there's a video chat going on here.
Two guys on my laptop. I thought I shut it down last night.
We were watching you sleep. It was entertaining. No, it wasn't. You're boring sleeper. Do something fun. Cool. So obviously in the last episode, part 1, we talked about iOS 14. Part 2, we talked about iOS 14. Part 3, we talked about iOS 14. No, I'm kidding. Part 2, we transitioned into iPadOS, the AirPods and the AirPods Pro. In the last episode, which was part 3, we talked about watchOS 7. And this episode, we're going to start it off with macOS, which is now called Big Sur. And I guess the first thing I want to point out from my side is the version number of the new OS. Right. So Nakul, you're running the beta version of Big Sur. I'm not running it anywhere. So tell us what's the exact version number?
It's 11.
11.0, right? So that's to me that's huge. Like it's the biggest OS change in a long time. I don't know what you guys feel about that. I mean, Udit has used OS 10.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Since my Mac days, which obviously are long past, I remember having used OS X.
So when was the time you stopped using Mac?
Should be, I think, 2017, 16.
So 3 to 4 years easily, right?
Yeah.
And that's a long time.
Yes.
And since then, not only since then, so I looked it up, and OS X came out in 2001, I believe, which is 19 years ago.
That's a lot.
So for me, that's why the idea of Big Sur in general, the fact that it's now no longer OS X. I mean, they changed it to Mac OS a few years ago, but it's no longer OS X. It's now just Mac OS. No longer that X is not there anywhere. It's 11, 11.0. It's a huge change. It raises one question for me. Does this mean that they are going to stick to 11 for another 5-10 years or 20 years or 19 years, whatever?
19 years.
Or are they going to start doing it every year becomes like how they do with iOS? Is it going to be 11, 12, 13, 14? Is that how they're planning on going? Which kind of is so weird when you think about it, because OS 10 had so many versions, ran for so long, and now the new OSs barely last a year. So I guess it remains to be seen. What do you guys think? Do you think they'll change it to OS or version 12 next year, or do you think they'll stick with 11?
I don't think so. I don't think they should.
Yeah. I don't think they'll change the version name. They'll do the same thing. Like they'll come up with
11.1, 11.2.
Yeah, right. And they'll emphasize more on the name of the OS rather than the version.
Okay, so let's talk about that name then.
I genuinely think they come up with better names next year onwards.
Yeah. Do you think it was a big surprise that they came up with this name?
The name itself, I think for me, was the only big surprise.
Yeah. I don't know why they've been naming. I mean, honestly, like if you think about it, back when, what was the first one they came out with the names of the various
Wildcats, big cats.
No, not the cats. After the generation of cats,
mountains.
They went with was it Yosemite? It's not mountains.
Yosemite.
It's parks and landmarks and things like that, like natural landmarks. Was it Yosemite that was the first one that came out?
Yosemite.
I think so.
So
Though I
even
haven't been using, but I think that was the one.
so even with OS, no, was it Mavericks? No, Mavericks came after Yosemite, right? I think yeah. I think yeah. So Yosemite was 10.10.5, and Mavericks was 10.9.5. So Mavericks came out before.
Okay.
Yeah. So Mavericks. So Mavericks, I think, is still an okay name.
Yeah, it does sound quite cool.
Yeah. I think Mavericks is okay. It kind of sounds, I don't know, Mavericks, they named it after the waves, if I'm not mistaken, from a certain particular beachfront, which has really intense waves. There's even a movie, I think, called Mavericks or something like that, or The Maverick or something along those lines. I can't remember the exact name, but so that one's fine. But Yosemite, it's, I think, a national park or a mountain or something like that.
Yes.
I don't relate to it at all. You know,
I don't relate to that all, but okay, that's a whole different.
But at least if you look at a lion or a mountain lion or a leopard or a cheetah or a giraffe, at least you know those animals. I don't know what Yosemite is. I've never heard of it. I've never been there. And
True.
Funny thing was, I mean, like obviously in Dubai, there are so many Arabs here, right? So a lot of my Arab friends had the most unique way of calling that operating system.
And what was that?
So Yosemite.
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 Yeah. Which I found.
Not.
Yosemite not. I found it interesting because you would not mispronounce lion. I mean, you'd still get lion. When my friend told me, he's like, "Oh, what are you running Yosemite?" And I was like, "What the hell are you even talking about?" If he said Leon, at least I know he's talking about lion. You get my point? Like it's still obvious to some extent. I don't know. I've not liked their name since then. El Capitan. I mean, most of the people I know call it Captain. El Captain.
Right.
What was the other one that we had after that?
Sierra.
Sierra is fine. High Sierra is another.
Yeah.
I don't know why. Why do that?
I think that's why maybe Apple also doesn't want us, because I'm personally indifferent about the naming. I think Apple also doesn't like take it that seriously, but that's why they make a little joke regarding marketing team and everything when it comes to naming these things, the OS.
Okay.
So I think it's fine.
So basically, just get over it and move on, right? Is what your opinion is?
I think Apple would have named it anything, like big cheetah,
right?
Big orchard.
Yeah.
Anything. Like people would have had problem. Like there will be some people.
But then why give it a name at all? Why not just numbers like iOS or
Windows
OS
10
or whatever? Yeah, exactly. From Windows 8 to Windows 10 to whatever. Just
because it was. I mean, what was it before OS X? Actually, I don't know what it was.
I don't know either.
I didn't even know of Apple at that time. I think when it came out before OS.
They used to
Sure.
They used Android.
Mind blown.
They used Android before it was invented. Oh my god. Interesting. Fair enough. Okay. You know what, Nakul? I'm gonna adopt that opinion from now on. Just don't give a hoot about what the actual name is. It doesn't really matter, and it's inconsequential to my daily life.
I mean, yeah, of course. But like, what if they started naming their iOS?
Oh my god! I just hope they don't.
I'm like, Android does it.
Not from now.
No, but yeah. So even that logic applies to Mac OSs as well. That they've been doing it forever. So I think they're like feel pressured. That's why they just want to get over with it. So that's make it fun.
But then for Android, at least the names are literally sweet. I mean, it's desert names.
Sweet names.
Yeah, sweet names. And they have been following a pattern, like alphabetically.
Yes.
Naming. So I don't see any pattern or any, common thing in the Mac OS names.
Do you think Android started doing this because of the macOS operating system names?
I never really gave that a thought.
What was A? What was Android's A version?
No A. So I think it was just beta first, but then it started with Cupcake.
So it started with C.
Yeah, C.
Right. Yeah. That's I don't remember there being an A and a B, which is fine. I mean, it makes sense if you wanna just do something and give it a nice quirky name, which is a bit more relatable. I think that's
Right.
great.
And then they of course had partnerships with Kit Kat and Oreo for K and O.
Right. Do you think they got money for that? They should have, right?
Yeah,
I mean, it's
they
like
should.
marketing.
Of course.
Yeah.
They were supposed to name it Key Lime Pie.
Key lime pie, yeah.
Everyone thought it would be that, and suddenly we have Kit Kat. So
Yeah.
obviously they would.
That might have been a strategy to get into Japan. I don't know if you guys know the importance of Kit Kat in Japan.
I know they have weird flavors in Japan.
No, it's not
Yeah.
that. It's a cultural importance, Kit Kat.
Okay.
Something to do with the language.
Okay.
I think it's Kittukatu, means like best of luck or you will succeed or something like
Oh,
that.
okay. That's
So
it.
that's why Kit Kat has such a major impact on their culture. It's like a tradition to have Kit Kat before your exams or before a meeting, a big meeting, or
Wow.
an interview.
Sweet
things like that.
dahi.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Yeah, you could say that. Yeah, so it's like that. It's like that. I was watching a documentary or like a short documentary not too long ago, maybe a month or something ago, where they were talking about why Kit. Oh yeah, it was James May. I don't know if you know James May.
No.
Top Gear.
Yes, so he was
Yes.
one of the presenters of Top Gear. Obviously, now that he's one of the presenters of the Grand Tour, he's done he's done a show with Amazon Prime. Worth watching, by the way. I think you guys would absolutely love it. It's called James May, Our Man in Japan.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Something like that. It's a short series. I think maybe 5 or 6 episodes. It's not your traditional documentary because it's this guy and he's bizarre anyways. So his personality is shining through and through this documentary. And it's an absolute delight to watch. Very chilled out, very relaxed. But
Wow.
some very interesting insights. One I think was Kit Kat. Then there's this whole it's like a sexual festival where it's the festival of the penis, which is bizarre because when you think of Japan, you don't think of them having a festival like this. But
Of course.
this is one of the things. They have like this huge festival where they have float, like you know how they have floats in the American, I don't know, carnivals or whatever you want to call them.
Yeah.
So like that, they have giant floats of a penis.
Okay.
Yeah, it's bizarre, but it's very interesting to see, or take a glimpse into a different culture and how they go about doing their things and their quirky things. For me, it was all about trying to convince my wife to go to Japan because that's one of the places she doesn't really care to go. I was like, maybe this will convince her. And the entire series was great. The entire series was great. I think she kind of like through some of the things like they have this communal eating. I don't know, experience sort of. It's like this.
Okay.
Watch the documentary. I highly recommend it. I'll put a link to that in the show notes as well.
Please do.
Yeah.
Great. So in the
I don't know
Mac
how we got to
episode,
that.
we have Japan and obviously what you just mentioned.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I wouldn't mind them calling an OS version like Mount Fuji or something, or Fujiyama or something like that. It would be cool.
Yeah, those at least I know about those names. Unlike Big Sur.
Yeah. I don't know what Big Sur is. I've
yeah.
never even heard of it.
Maybe you can
Big
just
Sur maps.
I don't know.
I can use Apple Maps to find it probably.
Oh, can you?
I'm sure.
Yay.
What is it's an area? It's a park? What is it? It's a rugged stretch of Californian Central Coast.
Wasn't when they showed the name, wasn't the background like some mountains kind of
Yeah,
thing?
so it looks like so if you look at it from the water, I think that's the view you get. I think so.
Okay.
I think
It's between
it's a state park.
It's a state park. Yeah, it's between Carmel and San Simon or Simeon or whatever. Obviously, you guys have heard of this places.
Of course.
Bordered to the east by Saint Lucia Mountains and the west by the Pacific Oceans.
Oh, okay.
I don't care. Anyways, I'll maybe link to the Google Maps of this in the show notes.
Don't do that, man.
No?
Link it to Apple Maps.
How do you? Can you?
Yeah.
I've never tried because you know what? It doesn't work here. Just saying. In case you haven't heard of that before.
But still, like Apple Maps will show you. For fun, I would go to like Paris or New York, and they take the city tour.
Yeah,
on Apple Maps.
That does look kind of cool.
Yeah.
I'll give you that. But I mean, if it doesn't work for my day to day, why bother?
Exactly.
And I can't Apple Maps doesn't allow me to link to an area. It only allows me to link to a pin. So I have no idea how I would do that.
Maybe a particular tree in the Big Sur area, no?
Maybe, yeah. Anyways, I forget about that. Anyways, I'm gonna start taking Knuckles' stance. I'm copy pasting his stance as mine now. I don't care anymore. Or never cared. Wait, what? I never cared. So yeah, that marks a big change, obviously, for macOS. No longer OS 10, OS 11 now, or whatever. I would predict that they change the names every year, the version number every year.
Okay.
Let's see in a year's time when they come up with a new one. Who was right? If you guys are right, or if I'm right, or maybe not even next year. It might be the year after, because maybe next year is like a smaller update.
Yeah, right.
The year after they will do 12. If they do that also, I mean, it's indifferent now, I guess. It's good. I think it's good. It's been weird that they've been stuck to version 10 for so long.
Right.
But yeah, so if we don't look at Apple Silicon, right, the Apple processor side of things, do you think macOS has had a big enough update to be OS 11?
I think design-wise, yes.
Yes.
Like we even spoke, they're carrying some hints from the iOS side, whether it's iPadOS or whatever. So design-wise, yes, I think so. And I think they did show a lot of major design updates. Some which people liked, some which they did not. But
yeah, that's why they went to this route of. I think they'll keep macOS 11 till the time at least the transition is completed. But I don't know. I'm just guessing here.
Which is 2 years.
Which is 2 years, yeah.
Could be,
but,
yeah.
But yeah, I think I don't know if it's a rightful 11 version 11, but yeah, according to them, they made a visual overhaul completely from ground up, and that's why it's.
So for me, I'm finding it only justified if I look at the processor. If I look at it from a design point of view, I never find a design overhaul a reason to update OS version, or to update. Like, I mean, if it's a small update, yeah, sure. But if you consider it like a major release, I don't think that's good enough. It needs to have like really compelling features for it, or some real improvements or performance gains or whatever. If you want to give it such a huge, and this is like, we're talking about 19 years. It's a momentous change. Like, it's like something that you have to think of and like really understand. 19 years is a long time. That's almost a third of 2/3 of my life. So for me, that's like, it's a long time. That's why I feel like if I look at just design and some of the features like control panel and all, I don't think it's big enough. But if we start talking about things like running iOS and iPad apps on the Mac and running on ARM architecture and all of those things, then now we're getting closer for it to be an OS 11 version. I mean, that's just my opinion.
Well, I think for a lot of people, the design itself might be a big thing. Like, it looks totally different. It may have many new features or it may not, but maybe visually it's so different that they thought it was justified to call it 11 instead of 10.
Right. Okay. That's an interesting take. Nakul, you've been running it now for, how long has it been?
22nd to 30. Yeah, a week.
A week? 7 days, right? Exactly 7 days. Actually.
Exactly 7 days.
So have you, besides the UI side, and not the new like control panel features, from a usability point of view, have you found anything new? No. Some new features, like, I don't know, Spotlight is somehow completely different.
No. Even visually as well. It's at the end of the day, it's Mac OS, and it feels like that. So anybody coming from older version, they would just feel like home. I mean, and when it comes to other functionalities, I couldn't find anything till now.
Fair enough.
Everything runs the same. I'm more focused on. Actually, visually on new features, I'm still okay if they don't include new features, as long as the existing apps run even quicker. So
performance improvement.
Performance improvement will be a big plus.
No, but so to you, performance improvement and visual improvements are enough for it to, or even visual improvements are not important. The performance improvements are enough to change it after 19 years to a whole new version.
But with a combination of visual and, like, I'm thinking as what Apple would have thought, that changing visually and also the performance. I mean, maybe it's worthy of new version, because it's not like after 10, it's the same version. They keep upgrading it every. So there
Right.
were incremental upgrades. Maybe sometimes in some versions it was very few incremental upgrades, but and in this one, I don't think they are those, like the upgrades are such big that a new version name is required. But I'm like, I don't know.
Right. Fair enough. Okay. Okay. I mean, I was looking at it from, if you see the difference between, let's say, XP versus Vista, or no, let's do Vista versus Windows 7.
Right.
That was a major difference.
True. That was a lot.
It was like night and day. So Windows 7 to 8 to 10 has still been relatively similar.
True.
Except for the new home and all the titles and all that stuff, which I think is a phenomenal design language. But just Windows Vista to Windows 7 was huge. And to me, that makes sense that Vista now became a number.
Right. Exactly what I was going to say.
Right. Yeah. So, but Vista was utter garbage. So
I agree.
Most
people like XP more.
Oh man, I loved XP. Oh. XP would run faster. It was lighter. It was
true.
And we knew it. Vista only added animated background. Who cares? I mean, I did. I remember trying to fiddle. I used to have a waterfall as my background and stuff.
Okay.
Oh man, but that was, and I want to say it once in this podcast. That was a tutty version of operating. But okay, fair enough. So let's move on to the design then. Nakul, I think you should be spearheading this entire conversation. For me, the start would be icons.
Yes. The icons are pretty great, except for few.
Yeah. So you overall, you like them?
No.
No. Okay.
I was trying to be sarcastic, but I like how I like the battery icon.
Oh my god! Yeah, the battery icon is amazing. I mean, if you are giving milk to your laptop, then it's like green, mutated milk.
Oh my god!
But I think, in short, the visual overhaul, you can compare it with how iOS 6 and iOS 7 went. Like iOS 7, I was really excited when iOS 7 came out with those all translucent layering OS, and then it's the same here.
Mm-hmm.
And everything seems familiar. There are a lot more options when it comes to control panel, and you can keep a lot of stuff on the menu bar on the top. And actually, that's it. Surprisingly, that's it. I mean, like, just visually, what I've noticed is just the menu bar, and when I open things, because the visual overhaul is not there on the apps yet. I'm like, they're on Notes app, and I haven't opened the Notes app even once on this, but not on Final Cut Pro or Lightroom. I mean, like, of course, not on Lightroom, but at least not on Final Cut Pro.
Right. But I think because Final Cut Pro hasn't updated as a version.
Yeah.
So I guess we have to wait till that happens, and maybe Apple will translate the design language or transfer the design language onto
Final
this.
Cut Pro is at 10, right? Yeah.
0.4, 0.3 or 0.6 or something like that. 0.8.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. It's not 10. Is it 10? Oh yeah, Final Cut Pro 10, of course. Yeah. X. Yeah. That'll become 11 now.
I'll be really excited about that.
Yeah. Let's see what they bring. I think it'll be cool to see what Final Cut Pro brings. But okay, so you don't think that, like, okay, if you look at the stock apps with the OS that you don't pay for, because Final Cut Pro is paid, Adobe is not even Mac. So let's talk about the stuff that would come free, like GarageBand or Photos or things like that, Keynote and all that kind of stuff. Have you tried Pages or Numbers or Keynotes?
No.
Okay. So how about you open those up while we have this conversation, if you have them on your Mac, and we can probably see and try to tell if there's any difference. Maps is supposed to have a relatively decent upgrade, but I don't care, so we can skip that. Let's talk about something else.
Well, Apple also said something about the Word and PowerPoint, how they work something in their presentation, right?
But that was to do with ARM, the processor,
Okay.
rather
Not
than
to
Big
the
Sur itself.
design. Okay.
So we can hold that off until we talk about Apple Silicon.
Okay.
But okay, so if we, how do you feel about the rounded corners of the UI? Nakul?
Before as well, they were rounded as.
Yeah, but now it's like really pronounced.
Yeah, so now I've opened numbers and pages,
Mm-hmm.
and the only difference is then when you open like pages, there is a slight change in the UI, but when you create a new page, it's exactly the same as
Right.
before.
Okay, so maybe it'll change later on through the beta.
Maybe.
Yeah. So rounded corners, you don't care. It doesn't make any difference to you.
No.
Okay. So one of the pictures we were talking about it just before we started recording this episode, we were talking about someone tweeting the screenshots of macOS on an iPad, sort of to match the curves of an iPad. I think that was really interesting because the iPad design language is slightly different. So on a Mac, we have exactly square edges for our screen where the screen ends and stuff. On an iPad and an iPhone, for that matter, it's slightly curved. So to me, that means that possibly the next versions of the hardware that comes out will have that sort of curved design language on the edges, which I think is sure, why not? I don't see that being as a bad thing. It doesn't take away much. It's a very small amount to take away, and most of those corners are really not usable. So for me, that's fine. Happy to see that come about, and obviously there weren't any real like device launches, even though I won't say there was no hardware launch, but we'll talk about that in the next episode. But I think the iPad designed iMac, which has been rumored for a while, that could be, this hints more towards that for me.
Could be, maybe like you said, they want to get different hardware with some roundish, designs.
What do you think with it? Does that sound like design wise?
Well, it sounds okay, I think. I mean, I don't see why they want to do it everything iPad or iOS way, but okay, maybe they want to have some kind of similarity between the iOS and macOS.
In terms of what, like design language, physical design language, and software design language?
The visual appeal, basically.
Right. Because I think over the last few years, they've been trying to merge the two UIs between mobile and desktop, right?
All right.
I don't know if you guys, I think that's pretty evident now, right? Especially now.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
But I just noticed one thing that in the control center on the Mac OS now, so the curves there are a little broader than the like if I click on battery sign on the menu, so the curves are narrower and broader. Like it's not uniform yet. So I've taken couple of screenshots. Maybe we can I'll share them with you.
Right.
Okay. You'll see the difference.
We'll put that on our website to just sort of have them on the website pages. Yeah. I don't know if they will translate over onto the show notes, but we can definitely put that onto our website on our website show notes. But yeah, let's have a look at that. I think it'll be interesting to compare.
Yeah. But just for discussions, I've shared it on Slack. So if you want to check it out.
To me, they look almost the same. No. Oh, I see it. Yeah, you're right. So the control panel definitely, like the curve starts earlier, ends a little later, as opposed to on the battery icon.
And also, it's the control panel is much more translucent.
Right.
Than the battery.
Do you think that's got to do with the background itself, or no?
No, because it's just side by side, and if you see the battery icon, the control panel is there only.
Right.
Maybe because the control panel has two, like there is one which is a darker part, and the rest of it is more translucent, as opposed to battery, which has just one uniform.
Yeah, but that is because of the background. Because
so to differentiate between the two, maybe that's why it's more translucent in the control center as opposed to battery. That's perhaps what I think.
Mm-hmm.
Could be. Let's see closer to when they are ready to launch. Maybe they've ironed out some of these inconsistencies, or what seem like inconsistencies. Maybe they aren't. Maybe it's just to our eye. Because what Udit's saying is right, that the control panel has another layer. So you have the basic folder, you could say, or basic window, and on top of that you have elements that hold more control within.
Yes.
But yeah, let's talk about the control panel. I'm personally a fan of this. I like it. I like the idea of it.
Yes, even I'm happy with it, but mostly I use the touch bar to access this stuff, but not AirDrop. I'm happy that AirDrop is there.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, every time I'll have to go and find it and then look for
How
it.
about even Do Not Disturb being there? And
True.
and you've got keyboard brightness, which has never been there as a control on the Mac. Basically, it was always a hardware, or I guess in your case, touch bar. But what's interesting here is Do Not Disturb on the older version, like the current version of Mac. You could easily enable and disable it by holding, I think it was Alt, right? So if you hold Alt down and you press I don't know what that icon is, the notification icon, you can toggle it on and off. So
Which
if
notification? Okay.
the button that you would click for the today notifications, widgets and all to come out, right? Which basically turns on Do Not Disturb. It's a very quick way to do it. Not many people know about it, but if you hold Alt and you click the icon to show the notifications, it'll get disabled, right? So that's one thing for me which is good, but I don't know how that works here. So it would be interesting to see. I don't know if you hold Alt down and click Control Center, what happens?
Nothing
happens.
It
And
opens Control Center. Yeah.
And if you click Alt and click on the date and time.
Okay, nothing happens. No, nothing happens.
Nothing happens. Okay, so that to me is bad because I use that quite a lot. As a user, like for me, turning on and off notifications is very important because I'm in meetings in and out during the day, and it can get very irritating. Especially, I have multiple devices. I have my phone, I have my watch. Everything sort of starts firing. So I tend to disable some notifications, and then it's very quick to just enable them again without even having to look. Because if you have Do Not Disturb on, the icon gets grayed out, and it's very obvious when it's enabled and not enabled. So, just a point for me personally. I think that's something that I miss. I wish it was. Maybe they'll add it somehow. I don't know. So they've made Do Not Disturb accessible, but only for those people who don't know about the alt-click method. So I don't know.
Right. Now that you mention, I find myself hardly ever having used the Action Center in Windows, which is quite a similar thing as Control Center. But I've hardly used that. I mean, I don't even get as many notifications on my laptop as I would.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, I get notifications all the time. All my Slack notifications show up here. I get notifications about Facebook and Twitter and stuff like that on my Mac. I get notifications, calendar notifications, news notifications, notifications from push notifications on websites like AbsoluteGeeks. Push notifications come up.
Yeah.
So every time someone
because
posts
I think
something,
that's
it goes up.
your Mac is your primary work laptop now.
Yes.
Laptop. Yeah, machine. Yeah. Okay.
It's my primary machine, work or personal.
Yeah. So I use my Mac only for photo editing or personal some stuff and Final Cut Pro.
Same here actually. Laptop isn't my primary machine.
So what's your primary machine then? Your phone?
My phone. Yeah.
Even for you, Nakul, your phone is your primary machine?
For personal use, yes. For work, it's work laptop. That's the thing.
Right.
Yeah, for work laptop, yes. And notifications are important for me.
And your work laptop is Windows?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
But do you have a lot of notifications showing up on your work laptop?
Yes. So we use Slack as well, and then Notion, and for emails.
Right.
And for WhatsApp messages, yeah.
I mean, I've not personally used Windows as my daily driver for a long time. So when I was using it, it didn't have Action Center as such. Right. I don't think it had it at all. It didn't have notifications.
Yeah, I think it's from Windows 10.
I've had Windows 10. I mean, I have a desktop PC which is now being used as a table stand because I don't use it. But yeah, I think if I need to turn it on, and I need to give it a nice update.
Right, turn it on.
Yeah, it'll like that.
I'm sure it will.
I've been collecting cobwebs. Oh, let's not get into that. But yeah, interesting. I think so. Technically, Control Center is a copy from iOS, but the idea of putting it into macOS kind of can be attributed to copying from Windows.
Yeah, could be.
Yeah, which is weird because Mac started with the notifications and widgets on the computer before Windows did.
Right.
And then they got rid of dashboard. Dashboard used to be there, which had all your widgets and stuff. I used to use that a lot actually, but then they removed it. And I used to force my Mac to have dashboard. Like you can force your Mac to have it, and then slowly I just stopped using them. And I don't even use today anymore. Like I just use notifications. For me, today is kind of useless. The widgets there aren't that many extensions and things you can add to it. I think I would like to see that change. I would like to see more extensions come to the Today view, the widgets and stuff.
Right.
It'd be interesting. I don't know, Nakul, how do you feel about the widgets and the notifications window that pops up now?
Yeah, that's I realized that next year when it gets some incremental updates, I think MacBook can be touch ready.
Yeah, it looks
if you
like
look
it's
at the
there.
control center. If you look at control center, like you feel like touching it.
Right. Yeah, that's actually a very good point. Are we moving more towards a touch ecosystem for Mac? Either that could be two things. Okay, now this makes me think of two things. Either we have touch on MacBooks and iMacs, which would be bizarre because it's such a far away device, right? It's a huge screen. You don't necessarily come up close and personal with it. Or macOS could be going to the iPad.
No.
Or a version of the iPad,
Right.
like iPad Pro Max Plus Plus, which has macOS on it. You get my point? Like it could be that there is a in the middle device, which sort of functions like a tablet, but has Mac capabilities. So it's higher than the Pro, but not a Mac. I don't know.
A MacPad.
A MacPad. Oh my god. A MacPad. Oh my god.
But they can implement it like how Windows did. Like Windows works on touch devices and also on non-touch. And then there is mode you can click on that tablet mode.
Right.
Yeah, but Windows on a tablet is not that great of an experience.
Yeah,
so maybe Apple wants to change that. Yeah. Not for Windows, just for Apple. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
It's like, we have a new R&D team for Windows.
we have 6 windows for you here. You're welcome. Like, no, I doubt that. So I noticed something. I've been testing this laptop, which is a secret right now, and they have a non-touch screen and a touch screen at the bottom. So on the touch screen, if I press and hold, it's a dual screen laptop.
Okay.
So on the bottom, if I press and hold on the touch screen, the menu that shows up, the secondary right-click menu, that's bigger.
Okay.
So normally it'll be about this big,
okay.
small, like maybe less than a centimeter. But when you open it by touching, pressing, and holding for a while,
right,
the menu opens up, which is about like I want to say 2 centimeters, 2.5 centimeters. So bigger space for you to touch, basically, bigger touch area. So that's something interesting because that's, I think, one of the biggest problems with Windows on a touch device is that the UI is too small, too compact for a touch device.
Yes, I agree. But a few of them do come with a stylus.
Yeah.
So you always have the option to use that. I mean.
Yeah, but I mean, if you don't have the need to do any stylus-related work, then it's weird that you're restricted to using only a stylus for a UI perspective or IO perspective, interaction perspective.
Right.
I don't know.
True.
Cool. Okay, so question for Nakul. How does the dark mode and light mode work on Big Sur?
I want to say same as before. Because it was always not always there, but since last year, and it works just fine.
Works fine. So you're happy with it the way it is?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm happy with it, but to be honest, I haven't tried the light mode because I always keep it on dark mode.
Okay, so I think have a look at light mode and try to use it for a few hours or so and see what you think. Maybe we can discuss it in the next episode.
I do. Yeah, I do like the dynamic wallpapers.
Oh yeah.
So,
but that was already there, right?
Yeah, that was already there, but they have for Big Sur now. So
right. The wallpaper, the new wallpaper, you like that, basically.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, it's much wider scene of Big Sur.
Right.
Otherwise,
opposed to the previous season.
otherwise you'll just see one mountain or something. That keeps in
Right.
one park.
One thing. Yeah. Fair enough.
Yeah.
How about the layout of the action stuff on like Finder at the top? You have like the back and forth has changed. The search has become just a button rather than a search bar. Things like that. Does that affect the way you use your Mac, or you already got used to it in 7 days?
I already got used to it because, as I said, it's like just like coming home, and the UI changes are there, but they haven't changed the position of them. So it's pretty.
The back and forth button on Finder has changed. The location of that. It used to be right next to the minimize. Now it's moved into the right side. So where they have the sidebar on the Finder, there used to be the back and forth button on that side. Now it's moved onto the right side where the rest of the buttons are. So that like those small changes. I know it's small. Yeah. I don't know if you find it.
No, now you've said it. Now you've said it. I'm noticing it, and I find it better because the buttons on the left side of the screen where the sidebars are on the sidebar, it was a tad bit. It was hard to reach sometimes. Yeah.
Right. So what's interesting is I'm looking at it now. Can you send a screenshot of the Finder on Mac on Big Sur? Yes. Because I think the way they've done it is now the OS is essentially the sidebar and the rest of Finder. So sidebar is its own thing, and the rest of now before Finder was in 3 parts. You had the header, the sidebar, and the rest of it. Right? Or the contents, I guess, if you want to say it. So now it's sidebar and then the right side, which has a header and the content. So the layout of that has changed by what I remember when we were comparing it. Let me have a look. Yeah, you see what I mean? So I'll send you a screenshot of my Finder. Just give me a second to find a good one to send you. I think we can do it with the icons here.
So what I just noticed is that like when Nakul hardly noticed that the back and the forward buttons had changed, maybe most people would not even notice it as much. So
until
it would
someone points it out to them.
Yeah, it would be such a seamless, from the old OS X to 11.
Right.
That most people won't even find something unusual. They might just get used to it. Like, okay, wow, this is what I like. And when it's pointed out, they're like, oh yeah, this is much better than the previous one.
What they're using now is much better than what it used to be, basically.
Yes.
Right.
Without having to find where it actually is.
Right. So if you look at the two UIs side by side, now Udit, you can also check out the images.
Yeah.
Of course, we'll have it on the website. But if you look at it, the UI seems to be far more compact now, in my opinion. It's more, not compact, but it's more well organized, I want to say.
Yeah.
So, for example, like I was saying, the sidebar is now the left thing. The whole thing is the sidebar, which is your list of folders and list of those kind of actions where you can have your tags and whatever. Then the right side is where everything else lives. So you have the back and forth with the location. Before the location, the folder location used to be on the header, like its own little bar at the top. But now they sort of brought all of that down and made it into one bar. So I think now when I look at it, I actually quite like the new layout. It makes more sense. It's a good, I don't know what you want to call it, increment or a good, increment, I guess.
Right. Yeah. It does look good.
Yeah.
Just if you compare it side by side. And I would really recommend doing that. I think it's a better way of understanding what the differences are rather than us talking about it or speculating. I mean, I'm sure there are people who are not going to be happy with it. There's definitely going to be problems with it. But you can customize it a little bit more. But this whole layout looks a lot more compact and a lot more sensible than what we currently have.
Yeah.
I think they could go... Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, I just noticed one more thing that under, like in your screenshot, if you see the favorites kind of applications, and you can see the icon, it's gray in color, but now you can change those colors. So I've changed it to red.
The accent of your laptop. Actually, I think you can change that anyways.
But can you change in yours?
Because I think
the screenshot that you have sent, it's gray.
Because I've set my system accent color as gray.
Oh, okay.
So if I change my accent color is You know what? No, you're right.
It should be blue or something. Yeah.
Yeah, my accent color is blue. No, you're right. You're absolutely right. That's a good catch.
Hmm.
So in dark mode, it's like this. I don't even know how to change it to light mode. No, that's not it.
In
It goes
display.
system
In general.
preferences and then general and then light mode. In light mode, yeah, it's about the same. It's about the same. No, you're right. That's cool. So that's something that you can add an extra level of customization to your
Yeah.
Mac OS, I guess.
In the screenshot that you have sent, TJ, did you notice in all the four corners you can see a small white dot if you just zoom in, like 1 pixel, 1 or 2 pixels. So is your
That's because it's that window is not full screen. I've sent the screenshot as full screen, so that's why it's edge to edge.
Oh, yeah, the curves.
okay, the curves.
Can you actually? Yeah, that's a smart catch. Also, Nakul, can you make it instead roughly the same size as what I've sent? Take a screenshot of that and send it across so we can compare that. Because the curved edges on a Mac on the new Big Sur would, I guess, make a difference in the way that whiteness shows up. I never actually saw it. I never noticed it before.
Right.
And I've been using screenshots all the time. I mean, it's amazing. Actually, I don't think it's supposed to be white. I think it's transparent. It's a PNG.
I mean, it depends
not.
on
It's
your
a
lap.
JPG. No, it is a JPG.
Yeah,
it depends on your wallpaper as well.
I don't think so.
Maybe
My wallpaper is black or dark.
Oh.
Oh, that's interesting.
So it takes the screenshot of the object, and the default of macOS is to save it as a PNG. Because if you look at it, the original way screenshots used to happen, it would even keep the shadow of the window.
Right.
So now it doesn't do that anymore. I mean, I've changed it so that it doesn't do that. Oh no, Nakul, you don't know how to take a screenshot. Do Command Shift 4.
Command Shift 4. That's what I did.
And then
it's not a full screen.
No, and then hit space bar.
Oh, okay. Command Shift 4, and then
space bar.
Space.
And then hover it over the window and then click.
Oh wow. Thanks.
Great. So that was a mini Mac OS screenshot tutorial.
Yeah.
So this screenshot technique has existed since forever, man. Since forever.
To be honest, till like yesterday, I didn't know Command Shift 3 as well. I always used to do Command Shift 4.
Oh my gosh. There's now Command Shift 5 as well.
Oh yeah, I can see the shadows.
So yeah, so now when you see Knuckles' screenshot, the one that he sent, you will see a shadow underneath.
Yes,
and you will see that it's a transparent background. But if he changes the file format to a JPEG, which is what I do because the file sizes tend to be smaller, I've also removed the shadow because in the JPEG version with the shadow, you have a white background and it looks hideous. So I've removed the shadow from my screenshots.
Right.
In this style of taking a screenshot, we do Command Shift 4, spacebar, and then click, because that takes the screenshot of the window. So if you Nakul, if you do Command Shift 5, you will have the ability to make some changes to your options. So you can choose the folder where you want to save it. Something I do. I have a special screenshots folder. I think.
Okay. It just gave me. Okay.
There's actually not that much here. So I have done it through terminal. I've changed the to disable this shadow and to change this file format to JPEG. I have done it on terminal. And if I can find the commands for that, I'll put it again in the show notes if anybody's interested. But they definitely save space rather than taking up all that space for the shadow. Like, let's see, Knuckles screenshot size. How big was this? How do we find out?
I can tell you.
Okay, so the previous screenshot was 911 KB.
Okay, and
the
new
PNG
one?
which you sent. I don't know. I cannot see it here. It doesn't show. I mean, the earlier one is just
with shadow. It's 1.2 MB.
Right. So yours was 1.2 MB. My screenshot, which I had sent, was 286 KB.
Okay. Wow.
The one that I've sent of my desktop with the wallpaper.
Yeah.
That's 21.4 MB.
MB.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's a disadvantage of using PNG. The problem being that PNG doesn't support like if you have multiple colors, then the file size changes drastically. So now if you were to use it as JPEG rather than PNG, you'll automatically save space. And then if you disable the shadow, you won't have this extra space around your image, it'll just be the window, which I highly recommend you do. So once I find it, I'll send it across, or I'll put it in the show notes.
How do I change the from the file from PNG to?
It has to be done through terminal, by the looks of it.
Okay.
So I'll send you the command.
Why isn't there a straightforward way to just save it as a JPEG?
So this is where I guess Mac has some limitations. So they give you the ability to customize your Mac in many ways, but it's not a very easy or a common thing, because how many people think of doing this? I mean, clearly Nakul has never thought about it.
Right.
No, I can do it here, TJ. If I open it in preview and go in File, Export.
Yeah, so you have to convert it. My point is, a screenshot is taken in PNG.
Okay, by default.
By default, yeah. So that's what I mean. Like this way, it'll be taken by default in
PNG.
In JPEG for me, but for you, default is PNG. Yeah. And before, if you wanted to put it like so, my screenshots go in a special screenshots folder. They don't go on my desktop, and I've been doing that for years. And that used to be a terminal command. But now, because they've added the Command Shift 5 option, where you get a selection of options, so it tells you where to save it. You have the option of changing that and customizing that. So that's something that's very interesting. Before it wasn't there. Even screen recording wasn't as easy. Before, you used to use QuickTime to do screen recording.
In my Mac days, yes,
exactly. Exactly. So I don't know how many versions ago they added it, and I've just got muscle memory to open QuickTime and do the recording. But yeah, they've changed that. They made it better, I think. I think they, in that drop-down menu, I don't know why they don't change the file format. Like, you can easily change that. I don't see why they can't put it there.
Right.
But yeah, that's how it is.
You're talking about Control Shift 5, right?
Command Shift 5.
Sorry, Command Shift 5. Okay.
Are you on Windows, Nakul? Oh my God, Control.
We do have.
No, there is a control on. There is a control on. Yeah.
On Mac.
Oh, that small button with you.
So yeah, so that's.
Actually, there is no Alt. There is no Alt. There is an Option button.
Yeah, they call it the Option button.
Which is also Alt, actually.
Yeah, it's equivalent of Alt on Windows.
No, on mine it says Alt.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
On Alt. Okay, so on my keyboard here, it says Alt.
Oh.
Or this icon.
Yes. Right.
On my MacBook, it also says the same thing, but on this keyboard, so this is also got Arabic. This one says Alt and Option.
Option. Okay.
Something interesting, because I mean, for me, if you see the icon in like shortcuts and where you would, I don't know, reference this button, they have this weird icon thing.
Right. Okay.
But yeah, I don't know. It's just interesting. Something bizarre.
Okay. I don't remember seeing the word Option on my Mac keyboard when I had it way back.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't know it, you don't know it, I guess. But these keyboards are very different. I've just realized. They're both Arabic keyboards, but they have so many differences. Is this
right?
Literally no clue. Interesting. Anyways, I don't know why they would have such a big difference between keyboards. But yeah, that's what that is. Cool. I think that covers about everything I personally wanted to discuss, or I had listed out for Big Sur. If anybody has any other points that they want to discuss about Big Sur.
Well, I think the main.
Oh right, sorry. Yeah, we only talked about design. Sorry, we only talked about design. My bad. Okay, so let me do a quick roundup. Messages now works very much like the messages on iOS and iPad, which I think is good. It's not had that. They've not been able to duplicate everything on iMessage or iOS onto the Mac. So I think that was a big miss. So now it's good to have that. I believe Maps is also the same, pretty useless here. Yeah. We have some other things that I've added. And of course, now with the change in hardware, or maybe not even the change in hardware, I think it should even work on Intel Macs. We should be able to run iPad and iOS applications on the Mac directly, which would be really cool. So those are some major changes. But I think the biggest change, which Udit has been waiting for, is
Chrome. Big Sur Chrome. Safari, whatever.
Okay, Udit. Unload it all. You've been holding back for the last 4 episodes, so might as well unload it. Last 3 episodes, sorry.
Well, it's now got custom backgrounds. Okay.
On the home view.
Yeah. On the home view. That's when you open a new tab, right?
I guess, yeah.
Okay.
Do we have that on Chrome? Because I really don't care.
Yes, we do.
But I don't
Since
care.
a long time, in fact, I haven't even changed my background since
Yeah.
a few years, because like the first time when it came, I was like, wow, this is something new. Maybe it's 5-6 years. I don't know how long.
Oh yeah, there is a custom. I've honestly never bothered. I
Right.
just don't care. I have no background on.
Okay. Because you didn't have the option to customize.
No, I use Chrome. I don't use Safari on my Mac.
But
Oh,
do we have that option
okay.
now on Big Sur? I don't know.
You should have that option. I mean, honestly, this is
Sure.
a feature that I don't really care about.
Okay.
I like that they have updated the home UI in terms of the features and stuff.
Right.
Let me see. So Safari for the old Mac just had, this was as good to me as Chrome. I don't like, it doesn't make any difference to me. It just has now the list of my main favorites as giant
Okay,
icons, as opposed to now where I think it has a search bar, very Chrome-esque, with a
Okay.
search bar and smaller buttons, and I guess a changeable background, which
Right.
apparently was a very, it's a well-loved feature. I don't know. To me, it's irrelevant.
And now you can see all tabs if there are too many tabs at once, as opposed to having to click that little arrow and go to the rest of the tabs.
You
Which
could
I
click the arrow, or I think you could scroll with your trackbar.
Yeah, I mean,
Trackpad.
whatever. You couldn't see them all at once.
Yeah, now they compress into the icon.
Yes.
Yeah, which is yeah, absolutely. Why haven't they done this before?
Of course.
Really annoying.
And now you have the favicons as default,
Mhm.
as opposed to
Needing an
Mojave.
extension before.
I think there was a setting, right, or needed an extension.
I don't actually know. I don't really use it here.
I think there was a
Tabs.
setting in.
Show website
Mojave.
icons and tabs. No, you're right. Yeah.
Yeah, there is a setting, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
That's
So,
nice.
in fact, favicons is so much important, I think, for me, because when I have too many tabs open.
And basic, I think.
basic.
Sorry? Yeah, and basic. The favicon is how I see which is the website. I don't read what is written there.
Yeah, I agree.
So that's.
I agree. In fact, a lot of my bookmarks on my bookmark bar, they don't
Okay.
even have the name. They're just icons.
Just icons.
So I've removed the name, which
Right.
is really annoying on something like Safari. So let me show you on my phone, because it shows up on my phone more than anywhere else.
Okay.
If I am opening a new tab on my phone,
Mm-hmm.
let me try to turn the brightness down a bit, and
Yeah,
you'll see that it says no title, no title, no title, no title.
Right.
Because
right.
I don't have a title.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Because I want it to be, so it looks really ugly when I open it like this, but
Right.
either way I don't read it. So for me, except when a particular page doesn't have an icon, which because that website is gone, I think,
Right. Okay.
and only in that scenario would I not have an icon. So you click on it, it updates the icon, and then you're good to go. But yeah, I agree with you with it on this.
It's
Absolutely,
so basic.
100%. Yes, it is very basic.
And so, okay, so that brings me. Mac always had the option of setting default apps. Is it? Like, is your default, let's say Chrome or the
Yeah.
default mail app?
Yeah, it's always been Chrome. My
Okay.
mail app, I could change the default to Outlook, or
Okay.
or I guess Google, Gmail. No, I don't know if I can change it to Gmail. I'm not sure. I've never tried.
Okay,
No,
okay,
Gmail
okay.
doesn't have an.
No.
I
Because
think it
if
should
I'm-
be an app.
Yeah,
no, I
just
think
I guess.
like on Windows, you can put it opens a web link. If you click Mail to anywhere, it opens on the browser. I think so. Well, when I'm within Chrome, if I click a Mail to link, it opens in Gmail. I think something like that. I have to check. I'm not sure.
Okay.
But yeah, to answer your specific question, you can change the default app on the computer to something else.
Okay, cool. And I think now Safari gives the option to translate a page if it's in another language.
Thanks to that Translate app
Translate.
apparently has come about.
Right.
I mean, I think there were extensions that would allow you to do it, but yeah, I see your point.
Yeah, natively. I mean, come on.
Natively, yeah.
And okay, now extensions are back again.
Well, extensions didn't really go away.
Yeah,
They
but they're
just
just more compatible or more developer friendly, something like that, isn't it?
something. So
Yeah.
basically,
Web extension API.
yeah. So what I understand from the extensions, the way they described it is that they've made it easier for you to take the extension that you've built for, let's say, Chrome or Firefox, and convert it into a Safari extension. So what's been the biggest problem with Safari is discovery of extensions.
Okay.
It's been really poor. Though
Right.
most of the important ones are there. So if you want an ad blocker, it's there. You want translate, it's there. Some of them are
Right.
paid, obviously, but those have already those are there. The basic stuff. I think.
Okay.
I'm just trying to see some of the more basic, like Pocket is there if you use that. Grammarly has one. 1Password has one. Honey has it. So things like that.
Okay.
But I have zero extensions on my MacBook. Also because I very rarely use Safari. I only ever use it to watch, to watch the keynote. Now that's even on YouTube. So now my need for Safari has gone down because they update it so slowly. There's very rarely they come up with features once a year. For in the browser wars, that's very, very late.
True.
So,
but in fact, after all these improvements or enhancements, they do have hopes that people will switch from Chrome, because if you see the update list of the Mac OS X, and if you go in all features under Safari, there's one thing which says import password and settings from Chrome.
well, import from Chrome has always been there, though.
But then they have included it in the under Safari
Features list,
list of all features.
I see your point.
So maybe then say like, okay, now we have all of that.
Yeah.
No, this will be useful for me because I have many of my passwords are in Chrome.
Okay.
I wish Apple comes out with a Safari for Windows.
There is, isn't there? I mean, I remember I had tried it on Windows.
Oh,
I never used to use
discontinued.
It. Oh,
okay.
Yeah, it used to be there, but it's discontinued.
In my Mac days, of course. Though I never used it extensively, just tried to use it a few times, but it was there.
Yeah, it's completely gone now.
Thank God.
Yeah.
I guess so. Yeah, I think the biggest. Okay, go ahead.
And I think they've made some privacy improvements as well.
I was just gonna say, yeah,
right.
The privacy stuff, I guess, is nice because Chrome gives you a rough understanding, and visually, I think Chrome doesn't do it very well, like compared to what they showed at the keynote for Safari. Right. Visually, it's much better, but there's no real. I mean, I myself don't like looking at it because I don't really understand everything, or rather, it's not clear.
Looking at what you mean.
If you go into any website on Chrome and you click the little lock icon,
right,
or the insecure button or whatever it is on the address bar,
you
click that. That's kind of what they're trying to show. But I think here they're giving much more information to you rather than what Chrome gives.
I think Safari at first go, yes, it looks like they're giving more information and better. But I think if you go in Chrome, in different settings, you can see a lot of stuff. Like if you go in site settings, you have cookies and site data, or you have permissions and data across all sites, password monitoring under safety check.
No, absolutely, it's there. It's there, but it's not as
visually easy to see.
Visually, yeah.
Yes, visually, yes. I do get it that Safari has done it very well.
Yeah. He said something positive. I'm surprised.
Yeah, I've shared this.
I've been saying the design aspect has been nice.
Yeah, that's
always,
true.
And that's in fact true now as well. The features, there's nothing like great. It's just the design. Again, it's just the same point I'm saying.
True. Nakul
Does Safari have the option to block third-party cookies?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Chrome added it. Like they don't want you to do that.
Right.
So for them, because that's a big selling point, they use it in Google Analytics, which is a major product for them. Google Ads, which is like their main moneymaker, or had been their main moneymaker for the longest time. So,
and can you see which websites have access to, let's say, a camera, mic, location in Safari?
That's something for Nakul to check.
Okay, because I just saw in Chrome the other day, and I could see the options for each one. JavaScript permissions and stuff. Yeah,
it's there on Chrome for sure.
Right.
I don't know if it's there on Safari or not. So if you go to any website on Safari and click the little shield icon or whatever on the address bar on the left.
Yes. And
take a screenshot of that and send it to us. What is the stuff? What is the stuff that you see basically?
Because it doesn't work for every website. Maybe I'll open AbsoluteGeeks.
Or Apple.
For Apple, there are no trackers at all.
Oh,
yeah.
Right. Okay.
So yeah, this does look nice. The screenshot that you've sent, the way it gives a summary of things.
Yeah, I think visually they've got that on point, which is good. But I feel like a browser like Firefox does a phenomenal job of it. So if you're really privacy focused, Firefox is the way to go. I don't think there's almost nobody else. Maybe Opera to some extent or Brave, but I don't believe Brave. I think Brave has got some very questionable practices, so to say.
Okay.
Let me try to send a screenshot of this over.
So when
I'll share the screenshot of that. Okay.
Yeah.
So when I tried using Firefox, it didn't import my passwords as easily as Edge did. So recently I've been using Edge. I think we spoke in the previous episode sometimes.
Right.
So been about 2 weeks, 3 weeks, I've using Edge, and I quite like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially because it imported all my stuff very easily.
Right.
It was almost as if I was using Chrome, but a little different and a little lighter actually.
Right.
Using to switch.
So you're finding Edge faster than Chrome, right?
Faster as in, yeah, but if I'm using too many apps, like let's say Photoshop and Lightroom, then yes, my laptop doesn't become as slow as it used to when I was using Chrome.
Okay. Interesting. I mean, I've tried Edge a little bit, not much. But yeah, I think it's been pretty good. I'm very impressed that Microsoft's actually made a browser that doesn't absolutely suck, which is nice, I guess. But if you see Firefox security information on the website, so I've sent you a screenshot on Slack. You'll see that the design of this is absolutely beautiful.
Yes, it is.
And I think it's like the best of both worlds. It gives you great design with all the information that Chrome gives you. Because even if you look at the screenshot that Nakul has sent,
right,
it's not that much. There's not that much information.
I know.
I don't know if you click info what happens, but the little eye icon, but it doesn't seem to be that much. So, and even the icon, if you look at the icon itself, it seems like a copy of Firefox.
Right.
The little shield icon that you click on, it's like a copy of Firefox.
Yes.
So
yeah, pretty much.
I would say if you want to look at a browser, look at something like Firefox for security and privacy. If you want performance, I can't believe I'm saying this, look at Microsoft Edge. If you want something that's well integrated into, if you are using Google services, then nothing beats Chrome, I guess, to that extent, in that regard.
Then when I'm using Edge, even on my phone, I'm not missing out on anything that was in Chrome.
Right. No, but so I am a major power user of Chrome from various aspects. For example, I have multiple profiles saved on Chrome, which are linked to the Google profile. So I have. So for example, we are using this computer for various things. So I have one for our family business. I have one for our food blog. I have one for myself, my private stuff. I have one for AbsoluteGeeks, one for my own business, and one for my wife. Right. So each one of us has their own profile. And when you log into that profile, it opens like it's a whole browser just for that particular reason. And it's very, very good for productivity and to move between your private and personal, private and work, professional worlds, especially when you have like a lot of things going on, like I do. For that reason, I really like it. However, I know that you can do something similar with Microsoft accounts.
Yes.
Like even on Google, you can create a @ Hotmail or @ Outlook account, which is a Google.
I get
account.
You're using Gmail, but you're actually using the Hotmail account.
Exactly, like Microsoft account rather.
Microsoft, Sorry, Microsoft.
Yeah, so then that becomes like you have like a separate profile on Microsoft for whatever email address it is, and then that saves your passwords and blah blah blah. So it's always an option. Nothing preventing you from doing that, I think, and it's stored with Microsoft. So from out of the frying pan into the fire. I don't know if that. I mean, Firefox does the same thing as well, if you look at it. So Firefox also has the syncing methods and signing in. I have not used it for profile switching, so I don't know if they have that. But definitely Chrome, for me, that's like the main reason why I would use it.
Okay. I don't use different profiles. I don't know. I just use one, so I've never noticed that as much.
Right.
Okay.
I think that's one that now it's very hard for me to move from Chrome for that reason.
All right. Okay.
Primarily. And
Fair enough.
like I said in the previous podcast, for me, my primary device is my laptop. So on my phone, I use Safari. But if I want, for example, I want to get my password or whatever, which I don't have access to on my phone, I'll go into Chrome
and
switch to that profile, and then go to the password. And that's all I use Chrome for on my phone.
Okay.
So very rarely do I need it. But Safari gives me enough on my phone, and it's really fast on the phone. So I can't. I mean, Chrome feels very sluggish to some extent, or rather sluggish to some extent. But yeah.
Okay. Fair enough.
Cool.
All
So
right.
I think that wraps up everything for Big Sur, which was supposed to be half the episode, but it's extended to this. And the next episode is going to be part 5, which is episode 12 of the AbsoluteCast. And it's going to be my episode where I talk about everything to do with Apple Silicon or the system on a chip that they have, SoCs that they have come up with starting from sometime this year. So I'm looking forward to that. I don't know what you guys are going to think about it, but I know Nakul has said...
For the next podcast, before the podcast goes live, you'll have 2 listeners.
Yeah. So I have a feeling that you guys. So Nakul had hinted that he is not that concerned about this move, but I'm gonna try to make him scared, I guess. Let me put it that way.
Okay.
Because I've watched few videos, and I think it's a pretty I'm optimistic.
Optimistic, yes. I'm quite optimistic
about the future and what they are able to do with the iPad chip, and I don't know what they can do with when it ships
when they come out with a new
proper
one.
Yeah.
Cool. So if you want to listen to all of that and more, you can obviously come into episode 12, which is part 5 of our WWDC 2020 breakdown, cover, deep dive, whatever you want to call it. We haven't come up with a name, so if you have come up with a name for us, please let us know, and we'll use that. You can get in touch with us on Twitter at AbsoluteGeeks, or any other channel that you find comfortable. We're all available on everything. We're quite happy that way. So great. I guess let's sign off. Nakul, any last words?
So see you in the next one. That's it.
Was it?
Right. So I guess I do like the design overall.
Right.
Of the Mac, and let's see what people have to say, what our listeners have to say about it, and see you in the next one.
Okay. See you guys in the next episode.
Peace.
Peace.